You're watching The G20 Show, produced by Phil from Arcade Regiment and, of course, your host, G20.
And we have a winner in the one of the conferences, because we reseeded this time. The Montreal Canadiens are going to the Stanley Cup Finals. It is June 25th. Welcome to the G20 Show. This is episode, I think, number 5, if I can still count. So we are hyped for today. How are you, Phil?
Man, episode 5, we're feeling alive. We're feeling great. One would say that we're so juiced up that we're just like a juggernaut, just ready to blow through anything right now, which I can only imagine is what Habs fans feel right now, because holy...
CJ is loving that tweet now. He is, you know what? Fucking play into it, man. Lean into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Own it. At this point in time, dude, own it. I think it was bought too. Like, I think with that whole, like, what is it, MNT craze or something, CJ's like, who wants to buy this tweet? And I think it was sold for $10. Imagine he sold that tweet now. Dude, like, I would scoop that up. I'm not even going to lie. I would scoop up that tweet.
You know what, too? What really makes me mad is my unwillingness to actually go out and spend money on gambling. Because you could sell the Habs bet really high, like a lot higher than what you paid for originally.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you bet on the Habs to win the Stanley Cup at the start of the playoffs, you could sell that bet today and make a nice amount of profit. Or you can keep it and risk the whole thing. But, you know.
Ooh, you know what I kind of want to see, and maybe I'll try to dig it up for next week? I want to see what the Vegas odds were for the Habs at the start of the season. I want to see those odds. Like, I want to see what they were, because
you know
we can calculate this.
They might not be as bad as we think, because
not bad.
A couple people had Montreal up there.
Yeah,
in the North, like they said they were for sure going to make the playoffs, but they ended up, almost missing. Like they had to fight for that. So I don't know. I feel like the odds were probably at their lowest around midpoint of the season when they were fighting for that playoff spot. But here they are, man. Freaking Stanley Cup Finals. You know what? The Habs remind me a lot of that 06 Oilers team.
Yes.
They just grind their way to victory, and it's just unbelievable.
Does that mean they are due for an inevitable Game 7 loss? Which seems to kind of be the trend of teams who make it to the final with that Oilers team, with that Canucks team in 2011. It kind of seems like destiny, it's like Thanos. It's just inevitable. Like, they get all this way.
I don't know if I'd put the Canucks in that same league, though. Like, the Canucks were a real
not the same league,
contender.
but Canadian teams over the last couple times they've gotten there just seem to fall in 7 games, man.
And then Ottawa just lost in 5.
Yeah, Ottawa didn't even give us that like hope of making it to 7. They just lost in 5 to the Ducks.
Ottawa just lost in 5 and own gold for the cup winning goal. So there you go.
Chris Phillips, the poor guy. Oh,
he was such a great player too, and that's probably the number one thing he's known for, and that sucks. That really sucks because he's a great player.
Man, this whole situation with Montreal, like, I'm gonna be honest, man. When they beat out Toronto, I'm like any Leafs fan. I'm super salty. I'm like, man, I don't want to see this team. I want Winnipeg to take them out, dude. I don't want them. Scheifele gets taken out. They're so lucky, but they just won me over. Like, you said it best, man. There's just something about this team, and it's just it's magic. It is magic, and who doesn't love a good story? Who does not love a good story? Even last night, I'm like, man, it's hard for me to cheer against this team. All my friends are Leafs fans are like, I can't bring myself to do it. I'm like, if you can't respect,
like, that's such a great story.
Exactly. If you can't respect what's happening in front of your eyes and just the overwhelming odds, like, to make it this far when let's be real, no one besides maybe Habs fans had them going this far. A lot of them were willing to write them off against Toronto, and the media wrote them off against Toronto. Yeah. And just to see them make this Cinderella run to the Cup final, the 18th place team in the league, the 18th, and they're all the way here. How could you not get invested? How?
I don't know, man. Some people just don't want to let go of the rivalry, you know. But
Mhm.
I don't know. By the way, most Leafs fans are salty at the Leafs, eh?
Mhm.
Like they're not they're not salty at the Habs. They're salty at the Leafs because they fucking blew it. They should have won that series.
Mhm. But you know what? If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, dude, we're not having. We're not there. They are.
No, I'm just
Oh.
saying because a lot of people are chirping Leafs fans like, "Oh, you're just mad about the Leafs." No, I'm mad at the Leafs, but the
Mhm.
Habs like will give them their props. Like they're playing well. Like they're having this
Absolutely.
this magical run. Like Tavares gets hurt, and then they make it past the Leafs,
Yes.
and then Shifley got suspended for the rest of the series. That's when I was like, "Oh shit," is just kind of lining up for them. This is
Mhm.
this might happen.
Mhm.
And I remember I tweeted like the Habs might actually win the whole thing.
Mhm. And don't
And
forget Stevenson. He missed a couple games as well.
yeah, I sure did. Sure did.
Which I told you, man. Mark Bergevin, the elite duelist he is, he's got that card. I told you. I told you. He plays the card. It comes back to his hand. One member of your top six. Out. But I want to kind of talk really quickly about this Habs team and just some players in general who I feel are just kind of having themselves a playoffs. First and foremost, Marshall, how good is Cole Caufield right now? How good is Cole Caufield right now, dude?
He is making me really proud because from the day he was drafted, I was pissed that Montreal got him because I don't like the Habs.
Mhm.
I was pissed because I thought he should have gone a lot higher. And I've been on the Cole Caufield hype train ever since he was drafted. Like you can vouch for me on this.
Yeah.
And here he is just performing. And when he has an opening, he fucking scores, man. That's just what happens. I'm pretty damn confident saying he can score 40 goals in a season.
I think so. Dude, I think is he not already the obvious front runner for the Calder next year? Like, easily.
Oh, he's not even.
Yeah.
He's winning it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bet right now. Oh Jesus.
Oh, dude, I don't think the odds are going to be in our favor if we bet right now, but I would happily think that Cole Caufield is going to be winning the Calder next year. Dude, listen, I chirp the kid a lot when he's playing the Leafs because that's what I have to do, but if you can't just respect how just good of a goal scorer this kid is and how just smart, like he's taking shots as like a rookie. He's maybe got like how many games now? Less than 20? Like total? If you combine the regular season, or maybe it's about there.
Maybe a bit over 20. I feel like he might have played a bit more than 5.
And he's got a shot. He's scoring like off of the rush a lot, dude. Like he's playing like someone who's been in the league for like 3 to 5 years. Even last night when he's scoring goals, he's chill about it. And man, he's unreal.
He's playing confident. Unreal. That's the key.
Oh,
that's the key. If you're confident and you're playing with that type of energy that, yeah, I'm supposed to be here and I'm good enough to be here and you're going to have to stop me. If you play like that, it makes you with the same exact skill set play a lot better. And that's what he's got going on. He does feel like he belongs, and that's great to see because he does. He clearly has the skill. And the whole it makes me laugh every time somebody that's small in stature makes the NHL or gets drafted somewhat high. People are always quick to go like, "Oh, well, he's too small. He can't play in the NHL." And I'm like, man, did we not go through this with Maurice Richard and then freaking Martin St. Louis came in and just
Theo Fleury,
Theo Fleury. Yeah, like we have a long history of undersized people playing extremely well. If you have the skill to do it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
I think the size narrative should be dead, to be honest. I don't think
it
it's
should
applicable anymore, especially in today's game where it's speed and skill basically just dominates all. I think we should just put that whole narrative to bed. But speaking of putting it to bed, man, Carey Price is just out here taking souls, dude.
He's so good.
He is out here just ending teams, ending lives, man. He's just they keep pushing this playoff Price, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. I've seen maybe go to the second round, stuff like that.
Oh, they made it to the third round.
Fair enough. Playoff Price. He's the Baba Yaga, dude. He is the bogeyman. He is just absolutely insane right now. When he is locked in, when he's dialed in, you're not scoring on him, dude. You're not. You're not. Look at that game 7 against Toronto. Look at that whole series against Winnipeg. And then look at like last night against Vegas in overtime too. When his team really needed him, they had the win. Boom. There it was. When they could win the series, he was there. God, he's just too good, man.
You know what I think it is, man?
What?
He is he was not refreshed, but he was more fresh because of the injury. He had some time somewhat off, like half off time.
Yeah.
Not completely off, because obviously you have to work hard to rehab and stuff, but he wasn't playing. So he's a little bit refreshed in that sense, or started the playoffs that way. And he's realizing, like, man, I have maybe 4 shots at this left. What is he, 33?
He's up there. I can go figure it out right now.
I'm pretty sure he's 33 years old. He has 4 shots at the most at this left, at his peak. Like, if they want to take advantage of peak Carey Price, they have not a lot of time to do it. So he's like, you know what? It's go time. We're going to have to do it. I'm rested. We're going to work our ass off, and we're going to do it. And they have a good mix, man. They have some tough defensemen. They have Shea Weber, who's really good, and then they have a bunch of top 4 guys that are just really, really solid. And
like they mesh well, kind of deal. Like their styles kind of mesh well.
That's why I say they remind me a lot of the Oilers, because the Oilers had Chris Pronger, and then they had a bunch of top 4 guys that were just really good. So they remind me a lot of those. And then you can make some comparison. Cole Caufield, kind of Alish Hemsky, I guess, undersized little quick player that scores, except Caufield's more of a shooter than Hemsky was. But
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see, man.
Man, I never thought we'd be making that comparison, this Montreal team to the 06 or 506 Oilers there.
Right?
Not bad. That's not bad. But you're correct. Carey Price is 33 years old. So that's absolutely fair to say that, yeah, he maybe only has 1 to 3 to 4 to maybe borderline 5 chances left with this team.
That's a stretch. Like, that is maximum 5 legitimate chances.
If there's someone who can pull it off, though, I would put money on Carey Price. Like, for someone who I think could stay at the top of his game, especially in the playoffs when the pressure's on, man, Carey Price is that guy. And I like that you touched on the defense there, because this whole team, it seems like the right pieces are like coming together at the right time. Like, the way just somehow, I like to say this phrase a lot, like falling ass backwards into victory. Marc Bergevin just fell ass backwards into victory with this roster. And especially when he got Corey Perry and Eric Stahl, like, they have been leading this team, dude. Like, that line, especially with Yoel Armia, is just crushing it right now. And I never thought that line would be producing at the way that it is. And it's insane. And then you combine that with KK and Suzuki.
KK's
and then
good,
Philip Deneau, who, hasn't gotten many goals, but he's been shutting down, Where was Pacioretty and Stone this series?
Oh, God.
Non-existent, right? So
no, I don't say non-existent. Stone, yeah. Stone was super quiet. He didn't play well enough. But Patches had a lot of chances he just couldn't bury. Like, he had a few, especially last night in Game 6. He had one where I think the game was tied 2-2, and there was some god awful turnover by the Habs in a defensive zone, and Pacioretty got a massive chance one-on-one on Price, and Price came way out to cut the angle, and he stopped him.
That's the thing, man.
If he scores there, that game is different. But I'm just saying, Pacioretty's wasn't invisible, because he did get his chances. He just didn't bury them. But Stone was 100% invisible. I don't know what the hell happened to him.
You know what? That's fair. But also, you could say the same thing about Austin Matthews in round 1. He had chances. He just couldn't bury him too. That does kind of speak to the team defense that Montreal employs, man, and Carey Price.
I didn't think Matthews had dangerous chances, though.
Hey, you put the puck on net, you never know what happens.
No, that's true. That's true. But if you're Austin Matthews, your job is to make dangerous opportunities happen, and he didn't do that. I feel like Pacioretty had more danger chances than Matthews did.
I'll give you that. I'll absolutely give you that. That's fair. But
by the way, why did they boo him?
Pacioretty? Well, I
Yeah.
guess because he requested a trade, so he was
Was it
playing in Vegas.
was it Pacioretty that requested the trade? I
Fairly
thought the Habs just didn't want him.
fairly confident he requested a trade. Like, I would say I'm maybe 65-70% sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Like,
had the story wrong then. I thought the Habs just didn't want to pay him, so they traded him.
no. You think Eugene Melnick runs the Senators or runs the Canadians? Come on. You think actually Melnick doesn't run the Senators? I wouldn't have been wrong there either. But yeah, no, I think he requested a trade, and so that's why Habs fans, loyal as they are booing the heck
Okay.
out of him.
Yeah, no, in that case, I agree. Because I was listening to that because I'm like, man, that's your former captain. And I thought that the Habs just didn't want him anymore. So I was like, man, why the hell are you booing this guy? But
Yeah, he was a good player for them. Put up 30 goals. Yeah, why would you do that?
yeah, but if he requested a trade, then yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so man, the one thing I do want to touch on with this series as well, because everyone and their grandmother is talking about it, and I have been preaching about it, talking about it for years, is just how god awful the officiating has been. How just absolutely terrible it has been, to the point now where it how do you punch a guy directly in the face while the referee's looking at you and not get a penalty? How do you get nothing? Nothing. I don't get it. Make it make sense, please. Please.
The point at this point, it's a lost cause for this year. They can't possibly fix it this year because here's the thing. If they start calling penalties now, penalties that should be like, to be clear, penalties that should be called, and if they start calling them now, you're going to have a bunch of people who say, well, why is this a call now when you've let it slide the whole time?
Exactly.
Players just want consistency. They don't. If you're not going to call stuff, that's fine. Players don't care, but don't call ticky-tack shit if your line is you have to commit murder to get a penalty. So at this point, I think the refs are just kind of cornered themselves into, well, we can't really call a whole lot because it's just not going to be consistent. All the players want is consistency, so I guess it's just throw the rule book out. But the thing is, people complain about it every single year. That's just how the playoffs work. I agree that it's a problem.
Yeah.
And they should change it. But as long as they don't change it, teams need to build their teams with that in mind, and they need to play with that in mind as well. I don't think complaining about it is going to do much.
The problem, and this has been the biggest problem with me, and here's the thing. I get why it's not a thing, and I get why it's not something that they actively go out of their way to do, but I hate the fact that there's no accountability whenever there's like bad calls or kind of like bad decisions, or I hate the fact that some of the calls and stuff don't get explained out thoroughly and the reasoning behind it. For example, here's an example. I would have loved like just a written report or at least something about why Braden Point got that goalie interference penalty. Like, even afterwards, or just some sort of acknowledgement of accountability, man. That's the thing that just drives me up the wall. And I'm just guessing here, but isn't there like a thing that the NBA does or something, or the NFL, if there was like something that was made that was like bad? Like, wasn't there like a football game with like the Saints or something where it was like a missed pass interference and the NFL was like, yeah, you know what, that actually should have been a flag or something like that? Like, I just want something like that with hockey. And I get why they don't do it, but it's annoying.
Yeah, I think the NFL did that, but the NBA is a lot better at this. Like, refs will come out after the game in the NBA on Twitter and be like, yeah, I messed that up. That was a horrible call. And that's all I want. That's all I want. Yeah. That's literally all I want. If the refs are we understand that they're human, but when you're going to just sit back and fine literally anyone who says anything about them, you're putting out to the world the energy that you believe that they are doing a great job. Whereas if you were just open about it, and I don't know, the NHL would release a statement like that was a clear missed call and that's not good enough. Okay. It would help everything calm down. It would help teams and players just diffuse, and people wouldn't have to come out and talk shit about your refs in the media. Like, it's that simple.
Do you know how much more boring my Twitter account would be if referees had accountability? Do you know how much more boring it would be? Because that's the thing too, is that like I would be a lot less heated at them, because like the whole kind of energy I get from this is like, like when you were kids and you were like, playing in the sandbox with like another little kid, and then like he would just come up and smack all of your toys and stuff out of your hand. And then like you go to the teacher, and then he's just got his hands behind his
I
back,
beat
like,
the shit out of
I
him, but
didn't
sure.
do anything. I would never do that. And the teacher grabs his hand. It's like, no, little Billy would never do that. He wouldn't smack your Undertaker wrestler out of your hands. Why would you say that? Like, that's the vibe I'm getting, is that these are just these like impenetrable, like just unfallible beings. And that you're right. Like, you don't want to hurt their feelings. And if you say anything negative against them, you're going to get fined.
Yeah.
Like, you need accountability. That's the biggest thing that just drives me up the wall. They seem like they're just the perfect, like, gods out there, and they can never make a wrong decision. Make them accountable. If you make them accountable, we'll be a lot more understanding. That's all we want. It's just, yeah, like you said, then to be open. Give me Wes McCauley on Twitter being like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have called that. Just something. I've been like, yeah, you know what, Wes? Maybe it was a bad call. And then you know what would happen? I'd forget about it. I'd be like, oh, okay, yep, cool.
Yeah, I wonder if there's rules for refs that they're not allowed to do something like that. Because in my mind, it only takes one. It only takes one ref to get a Twitter account and be like, hey, I'm so and so. I'm the actual ref, and here's what my thinking was on certain things. And now that I look at the replay, I see that wrong. But from my angle, it was fine. Like, it just takes one ref, in my opinion, to start doing it on Twitter or literally any other social media platform, and it would develop into something bigger. But I wonder if the NHL has some rules in place where they're literally not allowed to do that.
There has to be. There has to be something with the system and like the Department of Officiating and something along those lines.
Because I know if I was a ref, I would love the opportunity to explain myself and to come out and say, yeah, that was a shitty call. I'm sorry, and I'm gonna try to not call that bullshit ever again.
I feel like we're reaching this point where I've noticed really bad officiating, probably around like really to like the point where it's made a point to be stuck in my head somewhere.
You do
around
look for it though. I feel like you look for it.
I do now, but that's the thing. I never used to, but I've been like doing this, like I was gonna say, since like 17, 18. I've noticed just a general like a general trend upwards in just terms of how bad it's getting. And it's gotten to the point now where even people like, I noticed it more last year, more people were starting to get on it. But this year in general, like it just feels like it's getting out of control. Like with just how bad that it's getting. And I've been like, see, I've been telling you guys for the past like 4 years, it's been getting just brutal. I feel like that meme of Charlie Day and It's Always Sunny with like the board and it's got the lines and everything. I'm like, see? Like I told you, it's been getting so bad. Like I feel like we have to get to a point where either we need accountability or we need something like a better explanation, because the NHL explains challenges.
Yeah,
just,
they do.
You have it in place. Just do it. Just explain bad calls. Explain missed calls. And I guarantee you the situation slowly will dissipate. It's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating just to see this, because it's the best sport and the worst sport all in the same time.
Yeah, like I always say, I love the sport, I hate the league.
That's honestly, that's how I feel.
I fucking hate the top league, but I love the sport. The top league just cannot get out of its own goddamn way, and it's annoying. But the sport is great.
And I use this argument too, like explaining it to a new fan. I touched on last week. Like, imagine, okay, here's the set of rules. Okay, here's the set of rules. Regular season. Oh, okay, cool. That's tripping. Okay, that's hooking. That's slashing. That's roughing. You know, when you kind of bop a dude and you guys both get sent to the box. Imagine if they watched that game where Braden McNabb just punches Nick Suzuki right in the face. He's like, "Oh, that's roughing, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's the playoffs, and guys, but it's against the rules." Yeah, but it's July. So there's different types of rules. It's hard to explain.
It is like that in every sport, though.
Okay, yes, I know that. Like I've kind of like understood too, because like I'm a very very casual basketball fan, and I've like
Mhm.
heard from like you and others that like yeah, sometimes fouls and stuff don't get called as much in the playoffs and stuff like that. Like sometimes calls aren't drawn, but I feel like in hockey it's just an egregious. It, it's like they're going home for the day, and then instead of switching the lights like on, they switch the lights off. It's like, okay, rules on, rules thunk off, and they're like, well, we'll turn that back on in October, and they just leave it off, and they're just like, yeah, you know what, screw it, just let them play, Marshall, let them play.
I that's another thing where I feel like if the league just came out and said like, yeah, we allow more in the playoffs. Like if the league itself said that, I feel like people would calm down a little bit as well. Because
Communication,
it is happening.
communication. That's all we want.
Yeah. Because it is happening. Like we can clearly see it. The rules change when the playoffs come. But if the league just came out and said, look, we don't want we don't want to call penalties that aren't penalties in the playoffs. So we want to make sure that if we're going to call the penalty, it's on something that's really obvious. So that's just how the playoffs work.
Or
So I don't.
maybe they phrase it in a way where it's just like because that's a tough thing to kind of say, like, yeah, we're going to be a little bit loosened on the rules and stuff like that, you know. If they kind of worded it in like the phrase of like, well, we would rather our players decide the game or decide the outcome as opposed to our officials and stuff
No,
like
but you
that.
can't say that either. I feel like it's better if they just come out and say we're letting more stuff go in the playoffs because it's the playoffs. Because if you say, well, we're letting our players decide the game, well, the players by taking a penalty should be penalized for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like they're
okay, I
playing
get
the
that. That's
same
fair.
damn sport. So
They're in.
that's how I feel.
No, that's fair, man. It's just, when do we see a change? If there is like one coming, do you think we get it next year? Do you think we get it in 2 years? Like if we were to hypothetically
When's
see a
the
change in this.
CBA up?
Oh god, dude, not for another like 4 to 5 years now. They
Yeah,
ratified it again,
there you
like
go.
during. Oh, I don't want to
That's
deal
when
with
we're gonna
this, man. For
that's when we're
5
gonna
more
see something.
years.
If we see anything.
Oh, I hate that.
Because that's what happened last time, right? It's when they came out of the 2004 lockout.
Yes.
They came out and they
405.
changed it. They moved the blue lines and they, yeah, 4-5.
Trapezoid.
Then they moved the blue lines, trapezoid. They added the rules and they just changed the way the game was called. It might do it again. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think it's ever going to change. I think people, well, it's not going to change in the foreseeable future. Because I think there's still plenty of people in hockey that are like, oh, but it's a playoffs and rough and tough and brr, 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 brr. I think there's too many of that still in the league.
The old school hockey kind of mindset, you know,
Yeah.
like got to be crashing and banging in the boards, you know,
Yeah,
fighting after scrums.
truculence and grr. But I feel like maybe in 10 years or so we might see some change. I think.
I don't want to wait 10 years, dude.
I know, but it is what it is. That's why I say the less you complain about it and the more you just accept that it's the playoffs and that's how it works, I guess the more enjoyment you're going to get out of it. But at the same time, if we don't complain about it, then it's never going to change.
It's a catch-22. It's
Yeah.
literally catch-22. If we say nothing, they'll just make it as accepting, or they'll just take it as acceptance. And then if we do keep complaining, it's just not going to change. Well, it's been in place for years. Why would we change the system? It's just, we can't win, dude. We can't win.
Yeah. I don't think that's a valid argument, but that's not the argument I'm making that, oh, it's been this way, so they shouldn't change it. I'm just saying there's too many people that think it shouldn't change. And that's why it's not going to change.
Like, that's mindset in the majority kind of thing, right?
Yeah, because the old, it's been this way for years, so it shouldn't change is garbage. Because, I mean, that's if that were the case, then women still couldn't vote. You know,
you still couldn't make a forward pass.
Yeah, exactly.
The 2-line pass rule would still be a thing.
The precedent doesn't change until you change it. You know, That's simply what it is. The two-line pass is a great example. They were like, actually, that's a stupid rule.
Who thought of that? Who thought that was a great idea? I want that person on this podcast just to be like, explain yourself.
So we're gonna allow you to pass forward,
Okay.
but not too far. But not too far.
Who was the dude who came up with that? Who's like, you know what? You're allowed to make a pass within an acceptable distance, but if you Hail Mary it over the red line, blowing it dead.
You know what I think happened?
What?
I think they wanted to make the red line mean something. I think other than the icing line, I think they wanted to make the center ice line mean more than it really does.
What a stupid defense that would be, eh?
We
want to add importance to this line here. Like, we got our blue lines that off offsides. Those lines, the boards there, that's our goal line. We can tell if a puck crosses that line, it's a goal. What about the line in the middle? Fuck it. If you pass over it, you can't do it. If you're in your own end, you hit someone with the pass over it, dead.
I think that, like, obviously, I don't think it was the entire reason, but I think that might have had something to do with it. Because other than that, the red line's pretty useless. It's literally just that's what you got to cross to ice the puck, which is garbage, by the way. People are dumping the puck in like 7 feet before the red line and getting away with it. And I'm like, what is that?
Do you know what I hate too? I hate that how much I believe that your argument there could be a legitimate thing. Like, that could have been legitimate thinking with the way the NHL is. And we wanted to symbolize something, have meaning. I hate that. Like, I can believe how much it would
plausible
be a thing.
It is.
Exactly. That's the point that drives me at the wall with like this league. I'm like, this could be plausible, and I hate it. And I hate every second of it. If there's someone out there who knows about the two-line pass rule more than we do, can someone please try to explain it or explain the league's logic or anything if there is one? Because I am genuinely curious as to why it would ever be a thing.
Well, it was to prevent people from just cherry picking. I think that's the point. Is to prevent people from cherry picking, but that's the point of offside.
Yeah,
so you have two rules to prevent the same thing, and I think most of the time when you do see a pass that's from the defensive zone to the other side of the neutral zone, I feel like most of the time that comes off of a change.
Yes, exactly.
Like somebody changes and the bench is on the other side, and the other team's defense are having a really shitty change, and the pass is open, so why not throw it? And it's amazing. Like, who doesn't remember that Erik Karlsson friggin' lob pass to the others? Like, come on.
To Mark
Hoffman.
Was
beautiful.
And then he tucked it in, dude. That's one of my favorite goals.
It was amazing.
But was there a problem with cherry picking in the NHL? Like, that's the thing. Was there, like, I didn't notice it as much in the 90s when the two-line pass was a thing, but was there a genuine thing in the 80s with cherry picking? Like, that's kind of my question. Like, I want to know when this rule was instituted and who was like because everyone kind of, like, the offside rule and challenge, right? Everyone thinks Matt Duchene, Danny Briere. Like, right. Okay, we cannot let that stuff happen. Who was like the culprit for, we can't let cherry picking happen? Two-line pass. Like, I want to know, is there like an offender of the two-line pass, or is there just someone sitting around like, it'd be funny if they couldn't pass above the red line in their own zone. Like, oh no, make the red line mean something. Let's bring that in. Like, was there an offender? Like, was it a combination of the two where it's just like, you can't do that anymore?
It'd be funny if it was the Habs. I think it might have been the Habs. If there is someone that made that rule happen, it would have to be the Habs, because they had all those offensive juggernaut of a team. I think it must have been them, if anything, because they're the ones that broke the power play rule. So there you go.
Yeah, that's fun to think about too.
So I figure maybe it was like a 2-for-1 deal. They're like, okay, how do we nerf the Habs? we're gonna fucking no more power plays or extended power plays.
Yeah,
and you can't make a long pass anymore. And then years later, they're like, Marty Broder's too good. We're gonna just add the trapezoid.
Do you know what I picture? I picture like a Saturday morning cartoon vibe. There's like a single light dangling overhead. It's a long boardroom. There's just a dude at the end who's slamming his fist like, how do we nerf this team? They're too good. It's like Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. How do we nerf them? They're a menace. Like, how do we stop them? listen, we got Guy Lafleur. He's flying around here. He scored too many goals in the power play. We need them to stop. What if we just take the guy out of the box when they score? Brilliant! Do it! Wasn't there like a Gretzky kind of rule, like the instigator? Like, wasn't he like a big thing with the instigator as well, or something? There was like something with like Gretzky where if, like teams would be willing to send like a guy to the box like on 4-on-4 because Gretzky and Curry had more room to like fly around out there and stuff like that. So now they started adding the instigator, so it was only one guy. Like for whoever started it and stuff like that. Like I think that was a thing as well.
Yeah,
Like
maybe.
the NHL is just actively trying to find ways to nerf team.
But that's how, most sports are.
Yeah, that's fair.
When a team becomes overly good at something and they're so far ahead of everybody else that it doesn't make sense, then rules happen, like the illegal defense in basketball, and then they just said, actually, that's dumb. We're just gonna let you play whatever kind of defense you want.
I just, you know what we should do one day, maybe in the summer when it's kind of quiet and stuff like that? We need to go through rules that are no longer in place and kind of just talk about them and who was the culprit.
That'd be fun.
And like who was the culprit and why it's not a thing anymore.
I wonder how much content we have for that.
Because
that'd be interesting.
Because like the one I was just immediately thinking of, and everyone knows this because it's one of the most iconic clips of all time, is Sean Avery with the stick in front of Marty Brodeur.
Yeah,
and just how much
that's
of
still
a
a
mess
thing, though.
that was. That is still a thing, and it's so funny to think about because I want to know why more teams didn't do it in the first place.
Well, I'll tell you why they didn't do it, because
Chris Pronger,
they would have made the rule earlier.
Yeah, because Chris Pronger and Scott Stevens existed, which is also my argument as to why they didn't need the 2-line pass, because those two existed, and they would truck you into the boards if you were
That's
there.
the thing. Like, I don't even think offside is that necessary. Just play some fucking defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, dude, could you imagine if hockey was more like lacrosse in that regard, and you just had the red line and that was it? Oh my god, dude! The amount of we'd have. You thought the 80s were bad for goals, dude? We'd have like 7-8 games like on the regular if that was the case, dude.
Oh, what if here? Massive rule changes. What if offside's no longer a thing? Take the blue lines out completely.
Okay.
You keep the red line though,
Okay.
and this is going to fix overtime as well. Once you cross the red line, you can't go back.
I've heard that. I've heard that a lot as like a suggested
Imagine
rule.
that.
Like you could. Oh yeah, especially with 3-on-3 because everyone they can't get the zone just though.
They would still turn back, but they would have like a wall there. They couldn't turn back 200 feet. They could only turn back to half the ice.
Oh, I am so excited now for when this season is over. We can have this rules podcast because that is going to be fun. Like I'm salivating just thinking about this, dude.
That would be amazing.
Just all the things that like either could be added in, because you had a take the other day that I thought was interesting as well. No icing the puck when you're on the penalty kill.
Yeah, I think that's stupid.
Like that, I think would be a good discussion as well.
Because I don't understand why you get to break a rule because you broke a rule. And what Phil's talking about is when you take a penalty, you're allowed to do icing, commit icing without the play being blown dead. And I just think that's kind of dumb. Because why is it I broke a rule, so I'm allowed to break a new one to help me kill off the disadvantage that I have? Like, what is that? I don't get it. But I mean, it's
like, why is the other team being penalized? Because I'm penalized.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of that kind of logic.
It would be a skill if you were on a penalty kill and you could clear the puck 190 or like 180 feet and it didn't cross the icing line.
Okay. Really, really quick. With that rule kind of in place, if that rule was in place, really
Which
quick, you are not allowed to ice the puck. You could get it just before the goal line.
Yeah.
You could get it kind of just on the other side. Who do you think would be the best team on the penalty kill with that rule in place? Like, if you were to kind of pick a team that you think could still have a really good penalty kill without icing the puck as of right now, I think it could be Tampa. Like, if I was to pick one right now, I think Tampa could be good at it. Like, I think they'd be okay.
I feel like I
or
can't
the
answer
Predators.
that question because it's such a different.
Mm-hmm.
It would make penalty killing such a different thing.
Mm-hmm. But like, if you had to pick one team right now, gun to your head, this is a completely hypothetical situation, so it's not like there's a right or wrong answer because you're right. It's a completely different thing. I'm just making it a guess of, okay, Tampa's got a good decor, Nashville's got a decent decor, like they could be okay. Like those would be my two.
Well,
Maybe there's like a sleeper
team. I think you need a team that also has fast forwards that can stay on the puck.
Ooh.
So that they could either gain the red line and dump it so that it's not icing, or just control the puck instead of clearing it.
Boston might not be a bad one. You know,
that's a good idea. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Boston might not be a bad one at that. You know, Marchand, Bergeron.
Shit, Montreal might not be a bad one. They killed off 30 straight penalties now in these playoffs.
That's insane.
That is insane.
So disgusting,
man.
They just stifle like the league's best power plays, dude. Toronto's power play.
Yeah, and that PK is not being propped up by the Leafs garbage power play anymore. Like they are legitimately a really good penalty killing team.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they kept that next year.
Well, they got Carey Price. Yeah, okay, they have Carey Price. So what? He's part of the fucking team, man. That's what it is.
You mean to tell me that Carey Price in a Montreal Canadiens jersey is a member of the Montreal Canadiens when he's on the ice?
Yeah, believe it or not, your best players are supposed to be your best players. The job of your best players is to get this, make a difference.
You're insane. How dare you? You're insane.
I know.
How could you say that to me right now?
I don't
make
know,
a
man.
difference. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah. Our friendship might be over. The podcast might be over right there. But
we had a great run, guys. I'm sorry, but I can't deal with that right now. Listen, you mean to tell me that teams wouldn't be as good without their best players?
Yeah.
Dumbest argument I have ever seen online. Montreal's not good without Carey Price. Leafs aren't good without Austin Matthews. What do you? Sure. Yeah. You know who else wouldn't be as good without their best player? Tampa Bay Lightning, Minnesota Wild, Nashville Predators, Columbus Blue Jackets, Edmonton Oilers. You mean to tell me the Oilers wouldn't be as good without Connor McDavid? Holy wow! Can't believe
it. What a take, eh?
I hate that, dude. I hate that. It feels like such just like an elementary school level. You're not good without him. No team is. That's why they're the best players.
Yeah, no team. This whole romanticized, no one's good on this team, but they're still winning because team and working and stuff. No, that's bullshit. You still need your best players to make a difference. I'm sorry. Sure that the Habs are having a great run, but guess what? It's because they're built on Carey Price being amazing, and they're built from the net out, as a lot of really good teams are. You have Carey Price, your rock and goal. You have your defensive core that is really solid, and then you have some forwards that just are decent, and they can all chip in a little bit. Like their best players are still their best players.
You know what that sounds like, Marshall? It sounds like they have what's that word? Like a system in place. You know, seems like they have like a system. I've heard teams like to do that. They like to implore a system and kind of work out.
I think that's what coaches are for.
Yeah, call me crazy. It's not just a guy to stand down there and be like, "Yeah, I want to challenge that." You know?
Press the circle button. Change the line.
Square, change the defense. You know.
Yeah, square changes the defense. Circle changes the lines.
D-pad, I want to change the face-off situation.
No. Oh yeah, the face-offs. Yeah. By the way, if y'all play drop-ins, if you're not the center, can you stop fucking with the goddamn face-off strategies, please?
Especially during play. God,
especially when the rest of the team is telling you, hey, bud, like we're trying to run a specific face-off play.
Or when it's all humans and I'm the right defenseman, and so you're blocking literally me on the screen when the stupid box comes up. I can no longer see my guy. God, dude, I hate that. Yeah. I'm like, let me just try, back checking my own. So box comes right up. I'm like, where am I? God, I hate that.
Also, goalies shouldn't be allowed to change strategies.
No, at all.
This you allow a goal because you're garbage, so you start fucking with the D-pad so we can't see anything on our screen. That's bullshit. They shouldn't be allowed to
Why,
change
why
strategy.
am I being punished for your incompetence, dude? Like,
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Especially because it
exactly.
always pops up on the freaking right side. And I'm like, ugh! Like, I get so frustrated whenever I see it, and it's unnecessary. If, like, we get a compy or a computer that pops in and we need to put him to aggressive. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Because, someone will
At the
usually do
whistle.
it during a break and play or, like, before a face-off when,
Or when the puck is going in the offensive end where your defensemen aren't going to be screwed over by the little strategy box.
Yeah.
That's when I try to do it.
That's when we'll do it. But if it's all humans, you don't ever need to touch that unless we're like, hey, we're just going to, maybe just change it to aggressive so we can get a shot off here. So, yeah, I hate that it's 6-player accessible. Make it to the center or make it no one at all.
My favorite is when you're playing and it's 6 humans and someone is changing the strategies. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you doing? This doesn't change anything. We're 6 humans.
Yeah.
Get on the fucking mic.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Talk.
Oh, I don't have a microphone. Bullshit.
It's packaged with your console. What are you doing?
It literally was.
Yeah.
It was packaged with. I was gonna say there's a microphone on the PS5 controller, and my head went, oh well, not everybody has a PS5, and then I remember the shitty little earbud thing that came with the PS4. Everybody has a microphone, man.
It came packaged with it. Use it.
Yeah,
Talk.
use it or stop fucking with the strategies.
Yeah,
damn.
I think
That's
it
annoying.
needs to be. I think it needs to be moved from. It's like goalies, defensemen. If you don't have a human center, put it on the wings.
Or you know what? How about? Because I was thinking of what I just said, where you give the center the say in the face-off strategies and nobody else.
Yeah.
I was thinking that's not necessarily a good thing because as a defenseman, you're going to run into a random center that makes you play aggressive when you don't want to be because you're up by 3 and you're trying to line up at the blue line. And this defenseman's like, no, but I want points though. So aggressive face-off strats. So I think, how about before the face-off, it lets you line up your character where you want him to be. Obviously within reason. Like if you're a winger, you can line up in like the wing areas.
Ooh.
If you're a defenseman, you can line up. So we could, first of all, make up our own custom face-off plays. And secondly, it would eliminate trolling from people that literally change where you are going to be on the face-off because they want to be an asshole. I feel like that would be great. Like imagine if I go and the face-off's on a certain side of the ice and we have the option of I take the face-off and Tyler, who's left-handed, lines up on right wing.
Yeah.
Like, what if we could do that? That way I can take the face-off and then we have a left-handed shot for the one-timer. That'd be fucking cool, man.
Or I've seen this kind of play a lot. Like imagine like a face-off's on like the left dot here and you do like that formation. But if you're like behind, you need a goal. You just send the winger to the complete opposite side over here. So you have that like Hail Mary kind of breakout. Like, yeah, imagine if you could line that up. Like it's like football. You just can't cross a plane on the face-off. Like you can't cross wherever the dot is.
That is how the face-off rule
exactly is. Right. Like as long as you're in that like plane, and they can be maybe even make it like before like the puck drop or before like the referee skates into like the circle, you have to be kind of like at a spot or else you're locked. Like you get like maybe 5-6 seconds for you to like skate over, and then the second the ref kind of skates in, like your player just kind of gets locked, or he
just kind of swoops into the nearest position, like the nearest set position that he can be in.
Like whatever on the plane, like you make the line like this. So if he's kind of here, he kind of like turns and faces or stuff like that. Or you can manually turn your player, but you're stuck in that like quadrant of the ice. Like you can certainly program that. That doesn't seem too intensive, but I think like that would be a pretty good play as well. Because you said it like correct, dude. You know how many times, for example, it's been a face-off in my own end, and because it was set to aggressive, I wasn't where I was, and so the puck gets to the point, and the point gets the shot
corner,
on. Yeah,
and no one's there.
Yep, and then I can't get to the front of the net because I have to now skate 15 feet, and by the time it's dropped, face-off, win, clear shot, boom, in the net.
Yeah,
I'm barely at like the post. Like I think that's just. I think that does honestly suck. But speaking of sucking, Marshall.
Sasha Gray. No.
Not that you. Oh my God. What a what a chance. She's just like, Marshall, no, how dare you? Marshall's gonna be like, yeah, so I'm looking for a new producer of the show. must know OBS recording. But speaking of hockey and things that suck, every year there are teams that finish in the bottom of the table, bottom of the standings here. So I thought it would be a nice, fun little game, and you can kind of make your answers however long, however short that you want to make them. But I thought it would be a nice, fun little game to take the bottom, we'll go bottom 6 teams, so from 31 to 25, because Seattle's not quite in the league yet. So from 31 to 25, I want you to make a guess as to how many more years it will be before the team makes the playoffs. Not wins the cup, not does anything crazy, but just makes the playoffs.
Makes the playoffs.
Yes. I'm not going to totally throw you under the bus and be like, yeah, how long till they win the cup, Marshall?
Yeah, no, that's dumb. I hate those.
Yeah. But how long until they make the playoffs?
Damn, that's a great one.
Yeah, I thought it'd be just a nice little thing to end the show with. And I only did 5.
By the way, he didn't tell me anything about this. He just told me something about the bottom teams was going to be on the show. And I was like, I bet. So I'm just going off of pure fuck it.
Because I like when I put you on the spot. I feel like we get better content that way. You know? So this first one, this might be the longest one of all. And I think you can guess, Marshall. In 31, the Buffalo Sabres. How long before they make the playoffs, Marshall? That's a tough one too, because you gotta think, man. Eichel's probably on his way out. We don't know what the return for him is gonna be. They still have
not as high as it could be.
No, exactly. They still have young pieces. They have the first overall pick coming up. So what's it gonna be with the Buffalo Sabres, man?
Wouldn't it be great if when Jack Eichel was traded, we had Melody Martin on the show? That'd be fucking awesome.
Can we make that happen, guys?
That would be great. But the Sabres, how long till they make the playoffs?
Yes.
That's a weird one because of how volatile it is with Eichel leaving and their first overall pick, which we know next to nothing about because nobody played.
This draft is magic beans, literally.
But yeah, literally. So
it's tough, man. Like that's what I'm saying. This is but here's the thing. I feel like this will get easier the higher we get up the list. So you kind of will suffer here, but it'll get easier when you go up the list. It's a tough one, man, honestly, because you're right. There's so many still moving pieces with Buffalo.
Here's the thing. I don't think they're going to get that much back as far as immediate talent or immediate help goes for Eichel.
Yeah.
They're going to get their biggest assets for that return are going to be futures. So that's a few years down the line. I don't think Jeff Skinner is a completely lost cause. I don't think he's a $9 million player.
$9 million.
But I think he can be better than what he's been. Because I think he has some real skill, Jeff Skinner. So.
Seattle, and you bundle it with a pick, potentially?
But the thing is, if Buffalo's not going to be good for the next few years, why would you spend assets getting rid of Skinner's contract?
Skinner's, but he's there for a long time at $9 million. That's a pretty big handcuff.
How many years, though?
Oh, I think like 7 or 6 more.
Oh, fuck me, man. Who signed that shit?
You know what? I will go to Cap Friendly right
Please
now.
do. If it's 7 years, I'll be pissed. Oh my God.
It was because I think it was signed after the 17-18 season because it was the big year he had the All-Star kind of run. Like he was the write-in vote, right? Right. Let me tell you when Jeff Skinner's contract is. Oh my Lord.
How long is it, Will?
UFA at the end of 2026, 2027.
Oh God.
You move that contract.
So another 6 years. Yeah, you spend assets to move that.
You move that because I'm like, that's a handcuff, dude.
That is.
I feel like you don't get a crack with moving it unless, Seattle. This is the best year to get rid of it, I feel. You don't think so? Really?
No, but here's the thing. Do you send him to Seattle now if they want him? Like if you can convince them to take him? Or do you make the bet that he might raise his value a little bit because he's still Jeff Skinner?
But raise it up to $9 million value, though?
No. I'm not saying raise it up to 9 million. I'm saying raise it up enough that it won't cost you as many assets to get rid of him because he'll be slightly better. He'll have a better perception of him, and he won't have as many years left on this deal.
Here's the thing, too. So going with your theory that, he kind of raises his game and kind of, produces at a better level than obviously he did in the past year and a bit.
Right.
Hypothetically, what's best case? You trade him, right? Like hypothetically, you get someone to take him, dude. You're not moving all 9 mil, and even if you retain 50%, that's 4.5 million still on your books.
That's why I think if you're gonna,
unless you buffer team it, and that's still 2 mil.
That's why I think if you're gonna be bad, you might as well keep him. Keep him for now. Trade him later when it won't cost you as much because his contract's gonna be shorter.
The problem is too is he's already 29 as well.
Oh fucking hell!
29 right
Man,
now.
they really screwed that.
Yeah,
they really messed that up. Holy cow!
I thought he was a little bit younger. He is 29, so that's 30, 31, 32, 33. That contract ends around 35, 36, man. I'm telling you, man. I think I disagree with you. I think the window to move him is right now. It's right now.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of him. Because
you might be right.
That anchor is going to hit the Marianas Trench with how just deep that will go, man. That is not good. 6 more years left. And that's 6 more years, counting next season. So that's 6 seasons at 29. Yeah. 35 is when that contract's up. He's taking up 11% of their cap.
Yep. And it's not moving for a few years, too, the cap.
God.
So. Right.
Okay, so Buffalo. How many years?
So in that case, Buffalo, in either way, it's not good because if they keep him, he's an anchor. If they trade him, they lose assets.
Yes.
So I think, man, well, this Melody might not come on the show because I think it'll take another 6 years for the Sabres to make the playoffs.
Holy!
I'm sorry. You know what? Maybe 5 years. I'll be nice.
Oh, you're gonna knock a year off?
Yeah,
just to be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's
because they're losing their main cornerstone, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, that's
sure they have a cornerstone at defense, but it's an offensive defenseman. It's not
right. Okay, so 5 years we'll say for the Sabres, and that's you being very nice and being a little lenient. It's the Melody Martin gift right there. Yep. Next up, the Anaheim Ducks. They got some pieces, man.
They do have some pieces. They have some young pieces. I wonder what they're going to do with John Gibson. He doesn't really fit their window anymore, right? How old is John Gibson?
Yeah, I'll look that up right now. He's still young. The thing with goalies, the goalie, you can be good. Look at Carey Price. You can still be good when you're up there in age. Especially with, Henrik Lundqvist was like that too, right?
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
Putting up great numbers. John Gibson is currently 27 years old. And he's signed at $6.4 million until the end of 2026-2027.
I'd take him over Jeff Skinner.
You mean decisively. Leafs could have had him, but no, Tyler Biggs.
9 mil over Jeff Skinner. I'd take him at 9 mil over Jeff Skinner at 9 mil, honestly. Yeah, okay, so they don't have to get rid of Gibson.
No.
He can fit the window of the next guy that's coming up. Mm-hmm. You know what? I think I'll say 4 years for the Ducks. They still have some work to do. They got some deals to get out from under, but I think 4 years.
That's a fair assessment. They still have Silfverberg. They still have Raquel.
Silfverberg is aging, though.
He is aging. He's 30 right now. I mean, Raquel's only 28, and he's only signed for 1 more year. But Trevor Zegras, Maxime Comtois, Sam Steele, Max Jones, Jamie Drysdale, there's some good pieces with this team, man.
They gotta get some defensemen in there.
Yes,
they have a lot of good forwards. They're looking a little bit like the Leafs right now. Like the Leafs a couple of years ago, they got a lot of forwards, not a whole lot of defense in that pipeline.
Fair enough. So
they're gonna have to make some moves. So I think 4 years.
4 years for the Ducks. You know what? I'd probably agree with you there. New Jersey Devils.
Oh boy.
This is an interesting one with the New Jersey Devils.
Man, Heischer and Hughes, man, they just kind of, I don't know, man. They kind of disappointed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's tough, man. It's a tough one. But Pavel Zach is having a nice little resurgence
yeah,
there.
he's all right. He's okay. They have some pieces on defense. Mm,
Goaltending though, man. Like, oh,
yeah,
that's
you know what? I'll say 2 years for the Devils.
yeah.
Because I'm banking on those young players, Hughes and friggin' god damn it,
He's sure.
Heischer. Thank you, Hughes
Gotcha.
and Heischer. I'm banking on them kind of bouncing back a little bit, and if they just get a goalie, I think they can make the playoffs. So I'll say 2 years.
They also have the one of the greatest wingers of all time in Andreas Janssen. So,
That's true.
that's also very fair.
That's true. That's true.
This one is actually.
And I mean,
gonna be,
Subban, if he has a resurgence, he can help.
he's got one more year in that contract, so $9 million will come off the books for them next year.
Oh yeah, 2 years.
9 million. They could spend some money, and that's a nice little enticing thing. They got Alexander Holtz. They got Hughes Heischer. That's a nice little thing. Hey, you want to come play with some good players like that?
How long until we get the Subban at 50 retained to Toronto rumors?
Oh, never. Hopefully, never. Oh, he wants to play. He was a Leafs fan growing up. Was he? Yeah. Everybody wants to play for the Leafs. Everybody wants to play for the Leafs. If you're Toronto media, dude. Oh, you're from just outside Toronto. You want to play for the Leafs, right? God.
Or you know what? You know what? At 50 retain for the last year of his contract, or you get a second team involved there, get a double retention. Maybe he could be a depth piece on the Oilers defense core.
Yeah. I was gonna
if they
kind
wanna
of go
go
back
for it.
to the Leafs here for a second because it's always about the Leafs. But
Always.
dude, you know what? You know what I just kind of thought about in the back of my head there? What was the biggest thing that the Leafs didn't have for the power play this year?
Goals.
Okay, what was the second biggest thing the Leafs didn't have for the power play this year?
Success.
What was the third thing the Leafs didn't have for the power play this year? A shot from the goddamn point until James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett tuned up their guitars and entered Sandman. We did not have a good shot from the point. Man, PK Subban, that shot from the point?
Oh, hey, maybe.
That's
That way, James Hetfield is like probably the only member of Metallica that still 100% has it.
Yeah, by far.
I don't know how he does it, by the way. Like he's such a great vocalist, and the stuff that he's sung throughout his career has been. There's no way it hasn't done damage to his vocal cords.
It is definitely vocally demanding.
So I don't understand how the hell he's still doing it at his age after doing it for so long.
And he gives it, even in practices. Like, there's always these behind the scenes videos and like fan videos posted. He gives it in the sessions.
For anybody not sure about who we're talking about, it's the lead singer for Metallica.
Yeah,
and he's been a freaking metal singer for like 30 years now.
Since the 80s, he's got to be pushing 30, 35, 40 years now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say north of 30, honestly.
Yeah, you're right.
Because think about when you're early success and early bands and stuff like that, right? Like, it takes a band like roughly, if you're like a decent, like 5 to 6 years to kind of get somewhere. I think it was John Lennon or Paul McCartney said it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. So who knows how long they've been playing and singing at that style, right? So I'd say probably 35, 40 years.
Yeah. And he's still doing, like, he's still giving her. The rest of Metallica, they're losing it a little bit.
The only other guy I would say who isn't really is their bassist, Robert Trujillo. He's still really good. And he still moves on stage, dude. Like, he's still really good. But he's a bassist. You can kind of slip into the background a little bit easier.
Yeah, and I mean, bass is kind of an easier instrument to play.
Yeah, hot take right there.
It's not as demanding.
All the bassists are gonna come in the chat like, "What do you mean it's easy?"
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's easier than the guitar. Or
I want us to have this whole podcast with like 99% hockey takes, but the one big hot take that comes out of the comments is just, "How dare you say bass is easier?" How dare you say that? But I don't know if this next team is going to get pretty easier. So you said 2 for the Devils, correct?
Yes.
Okay, 2 for the Devils. Okay, we got about 4 more teams here. So the Columbus Blue Jackets. This one I think is a little. Whoo,
that's
suspect.
I think they're going full scale rebuild. So I'll say like 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
So a couple years more than the Sabres.
Even if Foligno goes back, which I don't think he is.
Let me just Columbus has 3 first-round picks this year. They have 3 of them.
Cool.
So that's if you're kind of in like the right kind of ballpark with they have to
develop
load
those
up.
guys though.
They also have a lot of contracts coming up. Patrick Laine, he's an RFA.
That guy is not
Seth
re-signing.
Jones has actively said he's going to free agency. Werenski's up at the end of this year. Oh, dude.
They need a full-scale rebuild.
You
They-
might be correct.
They had their run. They had some playoff success. They won a couple rounds. It's over.
Put up the
The
banner.
guys don't
We
wanna
beat
be-
Tampa that one time.
Yeah, the guys don't want to be there. Your entire core doesn't want to be there.
Oh,
You have to reset the culture and restart the whole thing.
the only contracts that are signed basically long term are Cam Atkinson, who's up at the end of 2024-25,
Who's aging?
and Oliver
little bit.
Bjorkstrand, who's up at 2025-2026. Cam is at 5.875. Oliver Bjorkstrand's at 5.4 million.
Those aren't terrible deals.
They're
I
not
feel
terrible.
like Bjorkstrand's a bit too high, but
But yeah, like if you're building your team around Oliver Bjorkstrand,
yeah.
I don't know about that
No,
one.
I think
So 6 years.
yeah, I think full scale rebuild in Columbus, 6 years.
You know what? I haven't put a guess in yet for any of these teams. I'll kind of hop in here. 7.
7?
Mhm.
See, they might fuck around and make the playoffs a lot quicker than we think, because they might get some decent pieces for Werenski and Seth Jones, but we'll see.
I'm just thinking about that Central Division.
Mhm.
No, they're not. They're Metro, right? Not Central. Sorry, the
Yeah,
divisions
Metro.
are all messed up this year. I'm trying to remember what
Yeah,
they are normally.
they're Metro. They're 100% Metro.
With the Rangers, the Hurricanes coming up in that division, man. I don't know. Like that's strong.
It's
pick.
not
The
worth
Islanders-
it, dude. The Jackets are in a position
No.
where they're
I'm
gonna
not
squeak into
saying
the
that it's worth it.
playoffs.
I'm just saying that those teams are going to be good for a long time. I don't
Right.
know if they do. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, with that
Right.
division being the way it's shaping, I think 7 years or 6 years is kind of fair because I don't see them making it.
Right.
Because those other teams I mentioned, like the Hurricanes, like the Rangers, they're going to be pretty good teams. Next up, the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh my god.
So kind of a team
That team,
in the
man.
middle of like a rebuild. Poor Dylan Larkin right now.
I'm so tired of seeing them lose. Like, I'm not even a Detroit fan. I don't give a fuck about the Red Wings.
You had 25 years straight in the playoffs. Suffer. 4 cups. Suffer.
No, I used to be in that camp, but like that's enough. They've suffered enough. Like it's bordering on ridiculous. Like they have to make some moves at some point.
Oh
And-
my God. They have so many contracts up this year. Holy
No,
hell.
but that's a good thing in Detroit's case.
Oh my Lord. Okay.
That's not,
The longest contract, to interrupt you.
if you say Justin Abdelkader, I'm punching you through the screen.
No, fortunately. That would have been funny though. Okay, there's 3 players who are currently signed. Actually, technically, it's dead cap. It is Justin Abdelkader.
God damn it!
Oh, at 2.35 retained. He's not even there anymore. Okay, but for active players, it's the usual suspect, Dylan Larkin. But he is up at the end of 2022-2023 at 6.1.
Always a free agent in the GM modes.
The other one is an ELC at Wyatt Newpower. Don't know too much about him.
Yeah, he's not gonna.
And
command
the
much salary.
other one, who's also up at the end of 2022-2023, Richard Panik. Those are the 3 players they have signed long term with Justin Advocator, who's up his. Actually, he's his cap hit goes from 2.3 at the end of 2022-2023 down to 1.05, and that runs to the end of 2026.
Jesus fuck.
So it's not like it's a crutch, but
It's not
it still sucks.
It's not an anchor. It's just it's terrible to have Justin Abdelkader on your cap still for that long.
That's not good. So they do have a lot of money. They have a lot of money to work with and some good pieces coming up, man.
The problem with Detroit is they have a lot of cap space, but I don't feel like players that are going to eat up a lot of cap space want to go there at this point.
they still have Lucas Raymond, Joe Veleno, Moritz Seider. Like, there's still some
Yeah, but
good
those guys
players
have to
there.
develop. If let's say let's say you're 28.
Okay, yep.
Let's say
Thanks.
your contract. Okay, the Arizona Coyotes bought a few years of UFA from your last contract, and
Firing
you're
my
now,
agent immediately.
and you're now and you're now a UFA this summer,
Nice.
and you're definitely leaving the Coyotes.
Mm-hmm. Getting new representation, but continue.
Yeah. But
I spawned in Arizona.
do you want to go to Detroit when you're gonna be 31 before they're all developed properly, at least?
That's a good point. This is my get paid contract right now, so
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
Especially if you're coming from Arizona, where you've won fucking nothing.
How dare you assume I couldn't carry that team? But you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. So, yeah, with that in mind, where do you think they're going to go? Where their players still have to develop, but they need some veteran things to develop around. Like they still need to attract some names to kind of develop around, get something in that culture. Because if all they know is losing, it's not going to be good for them.
It's not. It's tough. It's tough, man, because they have to either get a generational talent or sign a few really good players, because they can't really trade for any unless they want to spend those young assets, which I don't think they would.
May I interest you in a $9 million Jeff Skinner?
No, that's not a landing spot for Detroit.
No,
I wouldn't do that as them. But I still think they got a lot of potential, but it's still potential. Like I don't feel like there's any sort of concrete evidence that they're going to get out of this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say probably another 4 years for the Red Wings.
I was ballparking it about 5, like maybe 5 in the 6th year they finally get in. Because
I was thinking 5, but I wanted to be nice.
Stop being nice. No.
Yeah, 5 years.
Stop being nice. Be a realist.
5 years.
Like I just bullied you into changing your opinion. This one's also interesting. I like how these are all interesting. The San Jose Sharks.
Oof, they are
Let me
like
just
8 years.
Pop up their We're already?
Oh yeah, they are fucked.
Oh.
They are fucked.
Let me just find. Why can't I find their cap friendly?
Dude,
oh my god, they're near the
Burns.
cap. Yeah.
Oh, they're fucked. Martin Jones.
Couture's good. Oh my lord, he's 32 now, and he's signed to the end of 2026, 2027 at $8 million. Evander Kane is 29 now. He's signed for 4 more years. Carlson is signed to the end of 2026, 2027. Burns
at
is
11.
2024. Yeah, 11.5. Burns is 8. Vlasic is 7. Oh my lord, yeah, you are 100% correct, dude. Martin Jones. Oh,
that team is fucked.
Oh, that's not good.
And they don't really have that many young prospects either.
And what they traded away their pick, like, was it last year, 2 years ago as well? Last year, right? The draft to the Senators, right? Or was it 2 years ago? Whatever. They traded away a first-round pick. Like, oh, that sucks. They don't even have a second this year. They traded that away in 2018.
Do they have a first this year?
They do have a first this year.
Oh, well, at least there's that.
They do have a first. They don't have a second. They have a third. They have a fourth. They have 2 fourths because of the buffer trade. Oh, my lord. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it'll take a long time. I think like 8 years. Unless something changes, but we'll see.
8 years. And, like, they had that cup appearance, like that cup final appearance a couple years ago.
They did.
What happened with this team? What happened?
Well, you know what happened? They had their window, and there's an alternate universe where they got 2 cups out of it, and we're just not in that universe. They paid everybody to make sure that they kept them, and now they're on the wrong side of that deal or those deals, and they're fucked.
You know what?
They took their shot, and they just didn't win the cup. It is what it is, man. They made the finals. They made the 3rd round.
Listen,
they just couldn't get it done.
As good as the Colorado Avalanche are, as good as the Vegas Golden Knights are, as good as the Tampa Bay Lightning are, they do not, and I mean do not, hold up to Father Time, because Father Time remains undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
And he will take. It doesn't matter. He will take his money. He will take everything. He remains undefeated.
Look at the Blues.
Mhm.
Contender. Win the cup. Fucking ass kicked in the first round. It's
Just stomped.
it happens.
And then lastly, the one I said this everything, but I think the one who is fascinating the most to me, the Los Angeles Kings.
Oh man.
Because they're kind of in a weird spot right now. Ooh, but they have an anchor though. Oh, they have a big anchor. Ooh, and that is the Drew Doughty contract at $11 million till the end of 2026, 2027, and he's 31 right now.
What's up with Dustin Brown's contract?
$4 million to the end of 2024, 2025.
Okay, that's not that bad. It's bad, but it's not like suffocatingly bad. You know what
Kopitar
I'm
is $10 million to the end of 2023, 2024. Which
How
is
old is Kopitar?
Kopitar is 33 right now. But
yeah, it might be time to trade him.
But that's the thing I was kind of going to say too, is that they still have, Quentin Byfield, Alex Turcotte. And the way it's lining up right now is that their ELCs are done right when Kopitar's money in his contract's done. So it's kind of a seamless
So maybe
transition.
you keep Kopitar to...
You keep him at a severely, and I mean severely reduced rate.
Right.
Like his money he's getting now is going to go to those players. But man, that's, you know what? They might not be in as bad a shape as I thought, because if you think about it.
No, they're good. They're good.
Like you have, sorry, my bad. I read the wrong thing. Dustin Brown's contract is 5.875, and that ends at the end of next season. I was looking at Alex Iafallo.
Oh.
He's the one who has $4 million until 2024, 2025.
Oh, that's bad. That money value is bad, but if it ends next season, they're fine. That's not impacting their window at all.
No, so I think what?
Oh,
they're intriguing. They're an intriguing team right now.
Yeah. I think they could get a lot of good pieces if they wanted to move on from Kopitar before it was too late.
Yeah.
But they could keep him. Like you said, everybody's ELC and him, they end at the same time. So it would make sense to keep. It would make sense to do both, I think. So.
And a guy who's won 2 cups, don't forget that. Him, Doughty, Brown, they've won 2 cups. They know how to win. They've been there.
Yeah.
They've been there, but it's goaltending that's the issue.
Yeah, they need a goalie. They need depth on defense. They need those prospects to develop. I say 4 years.
That's that's a good assessment. That is a really good assessment. Because I was thinking about the same. Because maybe after those 3 years when the ELCs are up, maybe they'll attract a couple more pieces to play with. Byfield, Turcotte. I feel like. They're going to be good players in this league, especially Byfield. Byfield's going to be a monster.
Byfield's going to be amazing.
He's going to be
freaking love him.
Monster, dude. So it's easy to attract players to your team, when you have some money and you have some good young pieces coming up.
When you live in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, you live in Los Angeles, you live in California, but
it wouldn't attract me as a free agent, but a lot of people would love to go to Los Angeles.
Can I go there instead of Arizona, please? Can we take me out of Arizona? Can I just make that drive the 3-4 hours just laterally over to California?
Uh-huh.
Can I make that drive? But another fun thing, and this will be a nice little thing to end the show with. They are still paying 2 players past the end of next season. Can you name both of them? They're dead. They're
Mike
in the dead cap
Richards.
category. That is one. Do you know the second one?
Marian Gaborik?
Not as far as I see. No, he's on the Lightning, I think, for LTIR reasons. But the other one. Do you know there was this band in the 80s? It had George Michael in it. Do you know what that band was called?
No.
It was called Wham.
Wham.
Wham. And if you say wham twice, wham, wham. Kablam, kablam. Double Dion is still on LA's books at 1.062 until the end of 2022-2023.
Oh,
he is there. And
Did you say 1.06?
1.06, yes.
Okay, that's not terrible.
No, it's not like it's 1.6, which would be a little bit, but it's only for 2 years, so another $2 million. But Mike Richards is $900K for this season, $900K for next season, $700K for 2023-24, $700K for 2024-25, $600K for 2025-2026, $600K for 2026-2027.
Oh my god.
I don't quite know if it goes beyond that. That's all cap friendly is showing me. There's no arrow,
I
so
think it does.
I'm gonna assume it stops there.
No, I think it goes
You-
further than that.
Could very well be right, and I would believe you. But that's not good.
Mike Richards was a great player.
In his prime, absolutely. And then you want to talk about a massive. That's a massive just departure.
Yep, it is.
Oh man. But speaking of departure, it is that time of the show where we must depart, you lovely people.
That's a great transition.
Let us know, by the way, your thoughts on how long it's going to take some of these teams to make the playoffs again. We'd like to hear them. We'd like to read them. Let us know if you think bass is not the easiest instrument out there. And let us know.
I'm not saying it's the easiest.
That's what you said.
I'm saying it's easier than the rest of the instruments involved in fucking Metallica.
So let us know that. Let us know your thoughts on the playoffs so far. And I'm just going to do this lovely little thing where I take my hand and, oh, is that Marshall just slowly moving?
It might be. It's
just moving. I'm
gonna
stretching out.
Move this, and I'm just gonna.
Oh, my arm might not go that long. I got some Space Jam reach with that one.
Target.
Oh!
Space Jam 2 come soon.